Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and ensure you never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links are waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. Houston versus Kansas. The Houston Cougars have experienced a revival on offense following the switch to quarterback Zeon Chriss. His dual threat capabilities were on full display as he racked up 141 passing yards, 97 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chriss' electrifying 71-yard touchdown run not only shifted momentum, but also demonstrated Houston's ability to execute explosive plays when it mattered most. With this newfound energy, my team pick is Houston Cougars plus 5 points. The Cougars' offense has been revitalized, and they will likely maintain a fast tempo to exploit Kansas' defensive vulnerabilities. With a talented roster of skill players, Houston has the potential to create mismatches and push the ball downfield as their confidence grows. Conversely, Kansas has also proven they can respond effectively thanks to their own arsenal of offensive weapons. This sets the stage for a thrilling back-and-forth scoring battle. Given the dynamic nature of both offenses, my total pick is over 47.5 points. Expect a high-scoring game as both teams look to capitalize on each other's weaknesses and keep the scoreboard ticking. James Madison versus Georgia Southern. As both teams approach this matchup in good health, with only Tite and Jordan Funk listed as questionable, they reveal striking similarities that make this contest intriguing. Georgia Southern has emerged as one of the top passing teams in the nation, averaging 249.8 passing yards per game and boasting 2 capable quarterbacks ready to lead the charge. Defensively, they have the tools to challenge James Madison's Alonzo Barnett III, potentially neutralizing his impressive numbers and forcing him into a more average performance. The Eagles' 2 losses this season came in high-scoring affairs against the Boise State Broncos and a dominating Ole Miss Rebel squad, which speaks to their competitive spirit. With a solid 4-1-1 record against the spread, Georgia Southern is well-positioned to keep this game competitive, making my team pick Georgia Southern Eagles plus 9.5 points a compelling choice against the formidable James Madison Dukes in their home stadium. However, don't expect a scoring frenzy in this matchup. Both defenses have demonstrated their ability to stifle opponents and force empty possessions. In their last 3 games, James Madison has allowed just 11.7 points, while Georgia Southern has held their last 2 opponents to 22.0 points. The under has hit in 4 of the 6 games for James Madison this season and has landed in half of Georgia Southern's contests as well. Given the defensive prowess and the stakes of this Week 8 clash, I recommend betting on the under 58.5 total points. Expect a gritty battle where defenses shine and scoring opportunities are limited, setting the stage for a thrilling contest that could go down to the wire. Colorado versus Arizona. Last season, the clash between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Arizona Wildcats was a thrilling shootout, with Arizona narrowly edging out Colorado 34-31, while the Buffaloes managed to cover as 8-point underdogs. This memorable matchup prompted oddsmakers to tighten the line for this year's contest, with Arizona favored by just 3.5 points. On paper, both teams appear strikingly similar, but historical meetings between them often take on a unique character of their own. The return of Colorado's star receivers is pivotal for the Buffaloes, giving them a significant edge, especially with Arizona quarterback Fifita coming off a disastrous outing against BYU. His performance is likely to make him tentative, further complicating Arizona's offensive strategy. Momentum is also firmly in Colorado's corner. The Buffaloes have won 3 of their last 4 games and recently lost a hard-fought battle against the number 17 Kansas State Wildcats by just a field goal. In contrast, Arizona has stumbled, losing 3 of their last 4 games, including 2 straight, and suffered a lopsided 31-7 defeat to Kansas State earlier this season. With these factors in mind, I recommend taking Colorado and the 3.5 points in what promises to be a closely contested game. Last year's meeting had a total of 56, but the final score soared to 65, easily surpassing the line. This year, however, the bookmakers have adjusted the total to reflect both teams' improved scoring averages amidst porous defenses. Yet, given the struggles of Arizona's quarterback and Colorado's one-dimensional offense against a Wildcats defense allowing just 211.7 passing yards per game, we might be in for a lower-scoring showdown. While the Wildcats have seen their scoring numbers rise, their performance has dipped to an average of 17.75 points per game in their last 4 outings since entering Big 12 play, with the early season's 61-point explosion against New Mexico skewing their average. Thus, the 57.5 total points feels too high for this matchup. I suggest playing the under as both defenses are likely to rise to the occasion, making this a contest marked by grit and strategy rather than sheer offensive fireworks. Wyoming versus San Jose State. In what promises to be a fascinating clash of contrasting styles, the San Jose State Spartans host the Wyoming Cowboys in a matchup that showcases 2 very different approaches to the game. The Spartans boast the 7th best passing offense in the nation, racking up an impressive 331 yards per game through the air. In stark contrast, Wyoming finds itself near the bottom of the rankings, sitting 126th with a mere 148 passing yards per game. When it comes to rushing, the Cowboys are also struggling, ranked 110th with 115.5 rushing yards per game, while SJSU is even lower, sitting at 127th with just 84.3 rushing yards. San Jose State's strong offensive performance can be attributed to their ability to navigate a relatively soft schedule thus far, but the Cowboys fit neatly into that narrative as well, ranking low in multiple categories on both sides of the ball. The Spartans average 33.5 points per game, a stark contrast to Wyoming's paltry 17.7 points. Notably, SJSU has shown they can contend with run-heavy teams, having held Air Force to 143 rushing yards, which is more than 50 yards below their average. The last meeting between these 2 teams ended with the Spartans victorious, winning 33-16 in 2022, and that outcome seems plausible once again. I recommend backing the Spartans at home with a line of minus 11.5 points. While the total is set at 50.5 points, this figure feels inflated, influenced by Wyoming's trend of overs in 5 of their last 6 games, whereas the Spartans are a more moderate 3-3 in that regard. Expect the Spartans to generate plenty of explosive plays, but the Cowboys will likely attempt to control the clock with their ground game. We saw this dynamic earlier this season when SJSU faced Air Force, resulting in a low-scoring 17-7 game, well below a 44.5-point total. Despite the Spartans participating in some high-scoring games recently, averaging a combined score of 75.66 over their last 3 contests, Wyoming simply doesn't possess the offensive firepower to keep pace. Therefore, my pick is to go under 50.5 points in this matchup, as the contrast in styles should lead to a game dominated by strategic play rather than scoring explosions. Texas A&M versus Mississippi. In a compelling showdown, the Mississippi State Bulldogs face off against the Texas A&M Aggies, with recent history slightly favoring the Bulldogs, who hold a 6-4 record in their last 10 encounters. However, since 2020, the matchup has been evenly split at 2-2, with Texas A&M delivering a stunning 51-10 blowout victory last season. As the teams gear up for another clash, the statistics reveal a telling narrative. The Aggies currently rank 52nd in points scored this season, while the Bulldogs sit near the bottom at 109th, having surrendered over 201 rushing yards per game. This defensive vulnerability plays right into the hands of Texas A&M, which boasts a formidable 232 rushing yards per game in 2024. This season, the Aggies have only ventured away from home once, emerging victorious against the Florida Gators. With a perfect 5-0 record in their last 5 outings and a 3-0 mark in the SEC, Texas A&M is poised for another win, although this matchup might prove closer than expected. Prediction: Texas A&M minus 15.5 points. Despite the differences in team construction, the over/under sits at 6-4 in their last 10 meetings. The past 2 matchups have averaged over 750 combined yards and a remarkable 64 points per game. For the Aggies, the over is 5-5 in their last 10 games, with an impressive 35 points per game during their current 5-game winning streak. Conversely, the Bulldogs have also seen the over hit 6-4 in their last 10 contests, despite allowing nearly 39 points on average during their 5-game losing streak. In this matchup, The combination of offensive prowess from Texas A&M and Mississippi State struggles on defense suggests a high-scoring affair is on the horizon. Keep it simple. Take the over 52.5 points. New Mexico versus Utah State. The New Mexico Lobos are entering this matchup with a chip on their shoulders, seeking redemption after last season's painful overtime loss at home and a daunting 7-game losing streak against the Utah State Aggies. However, the teams have recently taken divergent paths. The Lobos have discovered a newfound ability to outscore their opponents, highlighted by an impressive season-high 52 points in their most recent game. Yet, the key difference in this matchup lies in the defensive performances. New Mexico has struggled defensively, allowing an average of 38.3 points over their last 3 games. On the other hand, Utah State's defense has been even more porous, surrendering an alarming 48.6 points per game over the past 5 outings. Given these trends, it's reasonable to back the Lobos to secure a victory, as they have demonstrated a stronger capacity to win in recent weeks. However, let's take a closer look at the logistics of scoring in this contest. Expecting a total of 79-plus points in a college football game seems unrealistic. Even achieving 20 points per quarter could prove challenging. A couple of punts or stalled drives could quickly derail those expectations. Examining the offensive output further solidifies this assessment. The Lobos are averaging 35.5 points per game, while the Aggies are putting up 28.5 points per game, yielding a combined total of 64 points. This is 2 full possessions below the total line, making a compelling case for the under. Take the under on 78.5 total points.